What's the worst case of management genius you've ever witnessed? I'd been working for a small but profitable company for years, the kind that made niche scientific equipment. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable. They paid well, gave us plenty of time off, and never made us work more than 40 hours a week. I started as the only software developer, but over time the team grew to 4 of us. Small, efficient, and experienced. That was our thing. We handled all the software that kept production running. Calibration tools, configuration apps, and automation programs. Most of it was written in C, C++, or C#, with a bit of JavaScript and PHP for web interfaces. We'd spent nearly a decade refining those systems, and everything worked smoothly. Everyone knew what they were doing, and the company trusted us to get things done. Then came the day upper management decided we needed a real software manager. Until then, we'd been under the engineering department and pretty much managed ourselves. When the new manager arrived, I had high hopes. His resume was impressive. Years of experience leading software teams, lots of big words about efficiency and modernization. For the first few weeks, he just observed, which seemed promising. But then he called a meeting that changed everything. We all gathered in the conference room. He stood in front of the whiteboard with this confident smile and said, "From now on, all new code will be written in Python." The room went silent. I thought he was joking, but no one else was laughing either. He went on to explain that one of the scientists had been complaining that they couldn't understand or edit our software. Instead of teaching the scientists C#, he decided that we should switch to Python so they could contribute. And not just for future projects. Starting immediately, every single line of new code had to be written in Python. I raised my hand and said that none of us knew Python. He smiled and said we could learn it, on our own time and at our own expense. I told him this would slow everything down because we had years worth of common libraries written in C and C#. None of those could be reused. Every bug fix, every update, every new feature would have to be rewritten from scratch. He didn't care. He said the future was Python, and that all code needed to be Pythonic. To make things worse, he assigned the same scientist who had complained to review all our code and decide whether it was properly Pythonic. So we did exactly what we were told. Overnight, productivity dropped to 0. None of us were fluent in Python, so we spent our days writing tiny test programs just to figure out how the language worked. Real work came to a complete stop. The company's production floor was waiting for software updates that never came. I remember one project vividly. I was supposed to write a plugin for an existing calibration tool. The tool was written in C#, but I was told that any new code had to be in Python. I explained that mixing the two wasn't straightforward, but he just waved it off. "Make it work," he said. "It has to be Python." Weeks went by as I tried to make Python talk to C#. It was like forcing two people who spoke different languages to build a house together without a translator. Every day I raised the issue, and every day I was told the same thing: figure it out. 3 months passed, and we had nothing to show. Not a single working program, not one update released. The entire software team was stuck in limbo, pretending to make progress while everything around us ground to a halt. Eventually, the manager called another meeting. He looked tired and nervous, but tried to act confident. 2 weeks later, he left to pursue other opportunities. None of us were surprised. It was clear he'd been quietly shown the door. The new manager who replaced him was the complete opposite: calm, reasonable, and actually willing to listen. On his first day, he gathered us in the same conference room and said he'd read through our backlog and understood the problem immediately. We went back to supporting existing software in the languages it was originally written in. For new projects, he said we could discuss what made sense. Smaller tools could use Python if it fit, but for larger systems, we'd stick to what worked. He also arranged for us to get proper Python training during work hours, paid for by the company, and he made it clear that scientists would no longer be editing our code. They would review results, not write programs. Within weeks, everything started running smoothly again. Productivity returned to normal. Updates rolled out. New tools got released. We even started writing a few small programs in Python, this time by choice, not by force. All the messy, half-finished Python bits that had been jammed into our old C# systems were quietly removed. The software went back to being stable, efficient, and maintainable. That Python-only phase lasted only a few months, but it took almost a year to recover from the damage. And the scientist who started the whole mess, they never wrote a single line of code.